Learning goals and success criteria are critical pieces of information students need to be successful learners. Students and teachers must hold a common understanding of what is to be learned and what successful achievement looks like. With explicit goals and criteria, students have the beginnings of what they need to become independent, self-monitoring learners. Co-constructing criteria engages students in the development of the criteria. Begin by asking students to brainstorm their ideas for criteria by asking, what should we be looking for?
You've read over the lab now, and so what I'd like you to identify is assessment criteria that you think would be relevant to this lab. So we're going to brainstorm as a class now, and I'd like you to come up with as many criteria as you possibly could.
Sometimes, students will find this first step challenging. It may be that they don't have enough experience with the task. One way to help overcome this challenge is to give them time to think and discuss with peers.
What I'd like you to do now is think, pair, and share in terms of with your peers. I'd like you to brainstorm criteria that you think would be relevant to this lab.
Another approach is to give students anonymous samples of student work at various levels and ask them to identify what is done well and what needs improvement.
So we're going to be looking at a couple of samples of opinion pieces. And what I want you to do when I give you these samples is I want you to take a few minutes and read over both of them very carefully, and then I want you to choose which one you think is most effective. Okay, that's the first part. The second part is, and before you talk to anybody, I want you to come up with some ideas in your head for why you think one is more effective than the other. Do you have any questions? Now what I'd like you to do is I would like you to take a few minutes at your table, and I want you to talk about what makes this one most effective. We're trying to find the elements of this written passage that make it better than the other one.
If you are introducing the co-construction process to students for the first time, choose a topic or task that the students are experienced with. Here, the teacher and students have co-constructed criteria for organizing their math binder. As students share their brainstorming, record all ideas on chart paper, using the students' own words.
So I want you to think about all the little details that you were thinking about when you were looking over the piece and tell us so we can put them on our chart paper and see them so we have something to compare our work to. So what are some of the things that made this sample effective? Taylor.
He made his opinion clear and he gave examples.
So could you write that, Melanie? Made his opinion clear and gave examples. Brendan.
I found it was longer and gave more reasons how it could be changed and helped.
It gave actual facts instead of just like what you thought.
It listed consequences.
They compared the prices between the pools, so he compared like different facts from others.
Okay, so he used comparisons. Excellent.
The words are more advanced and it's better written.
Okay, so advanced vocabulary. And now let's just clear up. That's a good answer. Let's clear up. You said, and it's better written. What would we be talking about when we look at something and say it's better written or it's more well written? What are we talking about? Elliot, you have an answer.
Like the structure of the sentences and the paragraphs and stuff like that?
Add your own ideas as well to ensure that all important criteria are listed.
Right. Excellent job. You've got almost everything that needs to be up here for success criteria, but there's one thing missing that didn't come out. We talked about they've written their opinion, haven't they? Okay, so if they're giving us their opinion, they're also giving us their point of view, correct? We talked about point of view. So do you all agree that the one success criteria that's missing from here is a strong point of view? Okay? You're writing an opinion piece where you're trying to express your point of view, whether you agree or disagree with the fact. In this case, it's wearing helmets.
Step 2. Sort and categorize the brainstormed list. This can be done by the teacher.
Now, while Christine's writing that for us, what I'll do is I'll take all of these success criteria and I'll put them together in the necessary categories and post them on the wall. So 1, you know exactly what you have to do, and 2, when your work is done, you can bring it up and you can look at the success criteria and see if you've got those in your writing.
Or, sorting and categorizing can be done together with the students. Ask students to look for similar ideas or patterns. By clustering the details under headings, the criteria becomes more manageable.
Okay, so scientific terminology there. Okay, what I'm going to ask you to do now is we're going to gather like criteria together. And so I'll just indicate it by using different colors. Okay, so could anyone offer what criteria you think are similar and would belong with one another? Okay, Ian, we're here.
Second group would be showing your work, peer assessments, proper units, significant digits, answering the questions correctly, perhaps the use of scientific terminology.
Step 3. Make and post a T-chart. Place the category titles on the left and the brainstormed ideas on the right. Step 4. Add, revise, and refine the criteria as necessary. Co-constructing criteria is an ongoing process. As learning progresses, additional criteria may come to light. As a class, make changes and refinements to the criteria listed on the T-chart.
Okay, so we basically have our criteria on the board, and what we did here on the chart paper is we clustered the information, and so we have using tools, so we use the balance and the periodic table. We have our accuracy covered, and then we have communicating. When I look this over, there is something missing. Okay, is there anyone that could come up with what might potentially be missing here?
We need to make sure that we have it written down in the proper order.
The criteria that has been co-constructed becomes the basis for feedback by the teacher, as well as peer feedback and self-monitoring by students. By keeping it visible as the learning proceeds, students and teacher are constantly reminded of where the learning is headed and what successful learning looks like. A viewer's guide has been developed to enhance your professional learning while viewing this video. The learning goals and success criteria inventory in this viewer's guide is intended to help assess your current practice, guide your professional learning, and measure your growth over time as you continue to use this resource.